Now, I may not be right about everything, yeah. I may not be right about everything, but if there's one thing that I can tell you is that when it comes to footballing opinions, I'm not one of these people that will just say things for the sake of it. I'm going to say it how I personally see it, me personally. Um, and do you know what it is? Is that at the start of the season, especially, I get it. Everyone gets gassed. Everyone gets predictions wrong. I get pretty much every prediction wrong. Uh, like I've been saying that Liverpool are going to win the league. I've been saying that West Ham, because of the couple transfers that we made, okay, we've upgraded the squad and we're better than other teams, and we're going to finish 13th. And I said the promoted teams will go back down again because I didn't think Sunderland would have had the strikers and defenders to stay up. I've been wrong about a lot of things, and we're already in November. But a lot of people were wrong about Everton. And this isn't actually going at Everton fans, to be honest with you, because since the David Moyes arc of, you know, him going to Everton or going back to Everton, making his return, etc., like the Everton fans have been the most civil. It's everyone else has been the problem. All the neutrals that claim that like they watch every single team, etc., um, that claim to know everything about football, and for some reason want to tell me about my own club, like West Ham United, etc. And it's like, well, what if Everton finishes above you this season? It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not even one of these people that's like, oh, we finish above Tottenham, it's the be all and end all. I'm not one of these people either, because let's say if I finish above a team I dislike, but we finish at 12th or 13th, um, it doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't make a difference. If I finish in fourth and they finish in fifth and they get Europa League, or if I finish in fifth and they get seventh and it's Conference League or whatever, cool. There's a slight thing there. Or if they finish out of Europe and my team's in Europe, that's the only time it really matters. Or if we've somehow won the league, which is never going to happen, and they haven't. That's the only time where finishing above someone really matters. Or unless the team I dislike gets relegated as well. Those are like the times. If like I'm finishing in mid-table and the other team finishes in mid-table, I really don't care. I'll be real. It doesn't make a difference because it doesn't mean a lot of the times where a team finishes in mid-table, they don't go on to capitalize and finish higher. They usually just stay in mid-table. So that don't mean anything to me. It don't mean anything to me. But Everton are going to finish above West Ham, uh, quite comfortably, in my opinion. I'm not switching opinions after one win against Newcastle, etc. Um, I still think we're going down. I still don't think we have enough to stay up in terms of the strikers, and the fact that the manager probably won't pick the same team week in week out either, and he's prone to be tweaking too much stuff compared to that the opponent that he has. But let me get on to the main point of why I'm talking about what I'm talking about today. It's basically a case of like, for example, David Moyes goes to Everton after. Um, Neutral fans like to say West Ham fans hounded David Moyes out. They like that phrase a lot because rival fans, when it comes to talking about other teams, are quite stupid. But especially when they're talking about my team, because we're not on TV as much either, and also it's just a case of like, come on, let's be real here. You don't watch West Ham week in week out. You don't even really have many West Ham friends, but you have the audacity to speak on West Ham like you do. And it comes from like pandering YouTubers on various like panel shows and very popular shows, etc. It comes from mainstream media like Talksport, um, and it just comes from deluded people on social media quite a lot of the time, which are trying to. I'm using my platform to say the realness. Um, but I've watched a few Everton games. I've watched every Everton game. I've watched Everton against Palace. I've watched Everton against West Ham, obviously. Watched West Ham against. I watched Everton against Sunderland. I watched Everton against Tottenham. Uh, I can't remember other games. I've watched them against other teams as well, but I haven't watched every Everton game. But I've watched a few. I'm gonna go through their fixtures actually to see who I've actually watched them against. Um, but in general, I don't think they had a quite a good start to the season. Grealish got Player of the Month, rightly so, and people were quick to gas it real quick about Everton and what they could do next or whatever they're going to do. Well, they lost in the first game of the season to Leeds. I actually watched that game just before the GVO show. I didn't watch Everton Brighton, didn't watch Everton Wolves. Watched the first half of Everton Villa because I had to go to West Ham. Watched the third round cup against Wolves. I watched that game where Moyes threw away the cup. I didn't watch the Liverpool game, but basically every other game apart from Man City that they've done. So basically, very recently I've watched, and the problem I have with people is what I called at the start of the season was correct about their transfers are good. Dewsbury Hall I wanted. Grealish would have been great at West Ham. Um, he's dipped a little bit recently, but I feel like Mohamed Kudus at Tottenham, they're relying a lot on Jack Grealish right now. And Iliman Ndiaye. And as much as Ndiaye is not as good on the right as he is on the left or the middle, um, he still can score goals there, etc. But the problem is Everton have no runners in behind on the wings, so they play quite narrow anyway. So when it's Grealish and Mikalenko, I guess down the left, there's not really much there. But also Jacob Bryan's on the right. Now, Everton fans have been wanting a right back for a very long time. Everton in general have needed a right back for a long time. They were in for Kenny Tete, and I think Kenny Tete decided to stay at Fulham. I could be wrong. I know there was links to Sufal. I don't know whether they were ever interested, though. I think to an extent it would have made sense because he's on a free, etc. And I don't know how much money they can spend due to the stadium move. I don't know what their finances are saying. But they did spend a little bit of money on like Dewsbury Hall and Tierno Barry, etc. But there's a lot of things that I kind of need to break down if I'm being real with you. So first of all, I think a lot of people expected Tyler Dibbling to play on the right, Jack Grealish to play on the left, Dewsbury Hall in a deeper role, and then Dyer to play in the middle with Barry or Beto up front. And I'm not saying Everton fans. I'm saying a lot of neutrals were trying to tell me in my chat about Everton about what their lineup's going to look like, and it's going to look really good. I personally said that Moyes will barely play in the new signings, and it will be like Dewsbury Hall will play, Grealish will play, but he's going to play like a Dwight McNeil there or something. I didn't think Ndiaye was going to be on the right. I thought Dewsbury Hall deeper, Iliman Ndiaye, but I also did say he's the kind of person to play Dewsbury Hall in the 10. He is the kind of person to do that, and he has been doing that because Moyes doesn't go for it. Now, to be fair, they've been pressing a lot more under David Moyes, but the problem is with them is exactly what happened at West Ham. When they go 1-0 up, they lose control of the game. They lose control of the game a lot of the time. And to be fair, they did well to come back against Palace for sure. I think Palace bottled it a bit, but I think Everton really pushed them to the limit. And they've had a really good home record. And one thing I was wrong about when it came to Everton is in general, I didn't think it would be that easy to settle into a new stadium. And to be fair, they've only lost to Tottenham. So they've had a good home record so far. So you can say a lot of that is carrying it for sure. And they're not even in a terrible position right now. But now David Moyes is coming under criticism, which is why I'm making this video. Not because West Ham and all that, not because West Ham are going to do anything and it's haha David Moyes, haha this, but just because West Ham are doing bad right now, that doesn't mean I was wrong about David Moyes. Now I had to check Everton's injuries because I remember Nathan Patterson still exists. I know Jared Brentford has been out for a very, very long time, but I don't really know. I don't really know like when Jared Brentford is going to come back because as much as uh, Michael Keane hasn't been terrible from what I've heard, just in general, as much as he has been in the previous years, um, it's still not really the level of centre back you want at this moment in time. He's been at Everton for a very long time now. Nathan Patterson is still out, and I don't know what the extent of that injury is, but I think that might be the only right back because Seamus Coleman is very, very old at this current moment in time, so he's not playing, and you can't really rely on an old Seamus Coleman, who's been a fantastic player in the Premier League overall. One of the best, if not the best, in terms of paying the money and what they've got back in application wise. Probably one of the best transfers we've ever seen. But at the same time, the board needs to do better in this situation or go and push for a right back. The problem is as well, David Moyes is one of the managers. He doesn't like directors of football. He likes taking over. Rio Ferdinand even said it at Man United. He likes to be the guy that runs everything. And that's what we had at West Ham as well. And that benefited a lot of what our ownership wanted because David Moyes wasn't the guy to complain about things, etc. He did speak out about Beto in the summer series, talking about we need more from him, etc. But if you need more from him, then surely you should be slowly integrating some of your players. But in typical David Moyes fashion, that hasn't been the case, and he hasn't played the new signings as much. This is what I was kind of referring to when they're talking about not playing the new signings properly. I didn't even know this role guy existed until Everton's last game. I think it was the Tottenham game. But Dibbling, 35 million, 62 league minutes. Um, Tino Barry, 26 million, 247 league minutes. Asnu, 8 million, 0 league minutes. I don't know what. Maybe it wasn't a plan to put him in the first team or whatever. And Everton fans need to educate me. Alcaraz, who they made a permanent signing, good player, 13 million, 237 league minutes. Bro, 18 million with an obligation to buy 68 league minutes. It's happened before with like West Ham making loan to buy signings or loan to obligation with a buyer signing, and even Moyes doesn't play them, and then they want to end up leaving like the next season. And a lot of players are going to end up wanting to leave. Now, there's been rumors about Tyler Dibbling not doing enough in training, but apparently the source that actually posted that is not that reliable, quite clickbaity. So we'll see. There was a lot of things about Tyler Dibbling's attitude at Southampton anyway, but David Moyes doesn't really sign players if they have a bad attitude. So to be fair, I highly doubt. I just think it's one of them players that it's always with like the more expressive, creative sort of players that we get in this country that people just say bad attitude. And someone's even put it here: our new signings make up just 4% of the playing time this season. Shocking. Yeah, our manager decides they need time to adjust. No, they need to fucking play. It's almost like I was complaining about this at West Ham. But the problem is, and I'm going to talk about this another time, it's like it was the same under Sean Dyche, where obviously they look better under Moyes than they do Dyche because Moyes is blatantly a better manager than Dyche. But the problem is with these kind of managers is that because a lot of neutrals will hold on to like the old fashioned nostalgia and they'll just hang on to it. So they'll just blindly back these kind of managers with no actual logic of footballing reason or any taking anything of note when it comes to the fan bases that actually support them clubs. They just want their managers to win because it's like against the work and all that nonsense because they actually buy into the meme sort of sphere. Um, these managers are out of date. They're way past their expiry date. There's a lot more you can do right now in modern day football when it comes to like adjusting to the times, actually playing your new signings. That would be good. Tactically, to be fair, Moyes has switched it up. He's benefited more towards the players. I don't know why he couldn't structure a press at West Ham. That's all I really wanted, to be honest with you. But he decided to do that in a one odd game and then sit back every other fucking game. Um, and the thing is, it wasn't even because it was a stylistic point of view from an aesthetics point of view. It was more because it didn't work. That's why we got battered by Arsenal, Chelsea, Fulham, Crystal Palace, etc. Because we didn't actually know how to play on the front foot, even though we had better attackers than we did defenders. It's about getting the best out of your players, not about aesthetics. I'm not kicking out David Moyes out of my club because the football wasn't good enough aesthetics wise. The football has never been good aesthetics wise, apart from the first half of the 14-15 season at West Ham United, in my lifetime especially. So I'm not asking for that type of shit. I don't care about that part of like the West Ham way and all that nonsense. But I will stick up for people that just talk about what is the West Ham way and all this. I will fuck you up respectfully. So that's what it comes down to when it comes to Moyes and Everton. And in my opinion, they can still finish that 10th. They can, if Moyes bucks his ideas up, they can still finish 10th. They've got some good players. Everton haven't got the worst squad in the world. But I think what's more frustrating from an Everton point of view is that they're a few players away from just like adding like some balance to their attack, some more zip. The game against Sunderland, they just lost all control. And I'm cool. I'm hearing a lot of their fans say they would have taken a draw beforehand, which I totally get, given the circumstances. I get other people taking a draw. As much I'm not the person that's like I wouldn't take a draw against any one type of person because that's just who I am. I get why people say it, so I'm not even going at them for that. But I think it's the way they capitulated and the way they did all of that, etc. A lot of Everton fans online are complaining about David Moyes now, especially on like Twitter and stuff like that as well. And take X and Twitter with a pinch of salt. But at the same time, people were going at us for complaining. And the problem is now the people that blindly back these managers like the Dyches and the Moises, etc., all the old school guys, they won't talk about this because they think it's just normal. What do you expect? All of this nonsense when they don't watch the club, and that's the problem with football discourse. I'm going to break down why there's such a big problem in football discourse now, but I'll do that another time. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. Email for the inquiries. Yeah, if you guys like these kind of videos, I'm going to have more in the future. Take care and peace.